two things today. One is I do have a topic. However, I have been feeling that I would like to open the call up and see if any of you have something in particular that you're challenged with right now that you'd like to discuss, or if you want to roll with any topic in particular. Come up with. Because I'm the man and I'm just going to do what the women tell me to do. So
can I just say, because as there's only a few of us on and Dave's not in, I'm struggling a bit with, and I don't know whether I'm well, I could well be in the way, but I don't know whether I'm manifesting the problem because I keep thinking, because Dave's become very ratty, and I'm getting ratty because I know Dave's going to be ratty if this all makes sense. And I wondered the other day what if I was manifesting Dave being ratty. And then I thought, well, okay, this is going to be a tough one, because how do I stop thinking Dave's being ratty when Dave is ratty?
So, Beth, do you want to come on in, because you wake up ratty every day and I have to put up with you, so.
No wonder he stands outside.
It's like being right in the middle of the fire. It's like being in the eye of the tornado in this caravan. So,
I don't believe a word you're saying, Martin.
So, well, first of all, ladies, is there anything that you'd like to share in regards to that, what my mum just mentioned?
I'm just curious, Rosa, what is the fear or the button being pressed internally?
For me or for him?
For you, around the whole story you just shared. Just what's your real...
I don't really know. I just think I go to ask him to do something and it's, oh, for God's sake, can I not have 5 minutes? Or I'll say, can you help me with this? And he'll help me and he'll go, you've ruined it, you've pressed the wrong thing. And I think, I haven't touched it. And I need him to do a job for me for a friend of mine. And it's like, I don't ask the question.
So why not? What's your fear?
That he'll come back saying, oh, can I not have 5 minutes? Do you not know how hard I'm working?
And what's the fear behind that story? Like, what is the pain point of the story?
Well, then I'll get upset, you see, and say, I'll forget it. Is that the pain point or not? I don't know.
So does that mean you're giving away your power? Is that what it means, Carly? She's giving away her power.
Just go into the pain point. Like, if you close your eyes and breathe into the pain point and see where it sits in your body. Like, feel into where it sits. Like, breathe in. Everyone else do the same if they wish. Just breathe in, close your eyes, and just feel into where in the body it sits when you're even speaking about it.
In here. Oh, I've done it.
Where, sorry? Was that
In
your
throat?
Okay. So if there's some sort of judgment in there, what is the pain point behind the judgment?
The judgment, I think, is that because I feel that he'll go mad. That's the judgment.
So is that your fear that he'll go mad?
It's not so much a fear as an upset that he'll go mad.
What's it do to you? What's it do to your inner child, your heart?
Well, it makes me sad.
And where's the sadness sit? So just close your eyes again and breathe in and really find it. So breathe in, everyone else find their own pain point. Breathe in and just be aware, is it lower down in the throat to chest? Just breathe in and just be aware. Where's the sadness sitting? Breathe right into it. Go deeper into where you feel it. As you breathe in, let your breath take you to it. And then where you find it, just step further back towards the spine. And just express where it is. Keep your eyes closed and breathe into it. Where's it sitting?
To be honest, it's not moved.
Beautiful. So it's still in your throat?
Mm.
Beautiful. So I want you to go into your throat where it is. I want you to breathe into it and feel it. Let it talk to you. What does it want you to know? You're just asking the pain point, what am I not accepting? And let whatever words come from the point. What am I not accepting? Breathe in as you say it into it. Breathe into the spot. What am I not accepting? Breathe out and just let it soften. Let the pain spot soften, the part of that throat. Breathe in. Let it soften. Breathe out. Let it soften. You've become aware. You're just letting it release. It no longer needs to be controlled. There's no need to control anyone else, to outsource meeting this pain point. You're meeting it yourself. You're going to own it and value it yourself. No one else needs to do that anymore. Not your partner, not your friends, not your neighbor. You're meeting it yourself. You're accepting and owning that part of you, and you're breathing out and softening. And then open your eyes when you're ready. And just notice how you're feeling. You okay, Rosa?
Yeah, it was lovely, thank you. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's nothing else needed unless you become aware of it again, and then you're just checking in to see if there's a bit more there, and you're just sitting in it, letting it transform yourself. So you might be becoming aware with someone else mirroring it, but it'll be smaller this time, or it'll be louder, and you go, okay, I'll just go back in and sit there and just let it know that it's safe. I'm never leaving my body again.
Right,
And
thank
not
you very much.
outsourcing.
Thank you.
So Carly, when I was doing that, I was in the solar plexus area. What's that related to? Your solar plexus, I forget.
The solar plexus is like the ego, the will, and the low self-esteem, low self-worth. So it really depends on what you were working on and where you were sitting. Like, were you in the front of your solar plexus, or were you in the back of the body more?
Yeah,
Or were you right near the
it's more
spine?
of a tightness.
Tightness.
No, it's a tightness in the front.
Yeah. So was there an emotion that was caught in there? Were you aware?
No, I could only just keep feeling the tightness. I thought, well, that's in my solar plexus. Now I was just asking, what does the solar plexus do?
Yeah. Is there anything you're afraid of, or you're tapped into?
Afraid of jumping off the bridge and surviving. That's a big jump. Yeah, I'm just, having some moments in my life where things are changing, and I am sort of believe I'm taking a big leap forward. Got a little bit of a confirmation with that, through an Ashura reading just before I jumped on this call. But yeah, I was just wondering what the solar plexus was about. But yeah, there's no ego attached. There's just pure learning and gratitude.
Beautiful. So just feel into that space and just put all the gratitude around it and let the gratitude transmute the feeling and soften with gratitude, because the journey's changing and any tightness could just be a little bit of fear of the change, because our solar plexus is where our lower will and our fear sit. So we're just softening it and bringing it back into the center of our spine and owning it and allowing it to feel safe to move forward.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry, Martin, I just wanted to help your mum. So that was all.
Not at all, Carl. It's beautiful. It's fantastic. And it's.
Where's your pain, Martin? We may as well deal with you too. We're all done.
Well, I've got earache. I've got my bum's hurting. Every bloody area is. Every chakra is in pain. I just get abused every day. You put dogs down for less, Trudy.
Say it again.
You put dogs down for less. So
he can't have any pain on his head now he's got hair, and I love his designer stubble, so he can't have any pain there, can he?
I think I could be featured in a catalogue.
I think you could.
So as I was just sitting back and relaxing, I actually noticed that mine was very much in my bum and my coccyx. So yeah,
I was wondering about that. So just make sure you keep, now that you're on the move and you've left home, you've sort of uproot because you're no longer in a stable house. So your body uproots. So all you got to do is, while you're on the journey moving, just keep grounding. You're out in the beautiful Mother Nature. Just keep connecting and put your roots down, and just keep reminding yourself you've got this new home on the journey.
yeah.
You haven't actually left home. Your body doesn't recognize the difference.
All right.
Yeah, thanks, Carly. Yeah, that's cool.
So
cool.
Ground and you'll have no pain, is what I'm saying.
And thank you for that. I've been I've really been finding that I've been finding it interesting, especially because of my past with back injuries and stuff, that I've been able to sit in the car for longer and do the drives, and I haven't had, touch wood, I haven't had any challenges. But I also think that the opposing side of that is the fact that I'm doing things that are serving me, rather than challenging me from a point of not living by my values. So I had a great call earlier on with Mark Santos, and I was saying, and I did this post the other day, and I said about, on Tuesday we left, where did we leave, Beth? Rook? No. Fitzroy Crossing. We left Fitzroy Crossing, and usually what happens is when I plug my phone in, I don't know why, but every time it always plays Abraham Hicks. Every time, doesn't matter what I was listening to before, always plays Abraham Hicks. And usually Beth will get in and she'll plug her phone in and then put the music on or whatever, and that's fine, because I find the singing aspect of it really wakes me up and keeps me alert. Well, we just left it playing, and it was really interesting because Esther had been saying, or Abraham, whoever you want to, whichever side you want to be, more so Abraham, I suppose, because she was in that state, was saying about, and we've discussed this, Carly, letting go of the oars, letting your boat turn around and flow down the stream. And I've referred to it a lot. But it was only that time of listening to it that I was truly present enough in my values to be able to understand what she meant. Like, I actually felt what she was sharing with me in that moment. And I feel that a lot of what we're doing and the time that in particular for me is spending and not stretching, not exercising, like apart from getting out on the bike occasionally, I don't feel, I mean, apart from the fact this seat's bloody uncomfortable, I don't feel any level of pain or discomfort. I'm just in this really, I just feel loose and light, and which obviously is from an angle of being, or well, being in general, just being, but also living in my values, and my cup is being filled every day. And, you know, even today, because it's Thursday today, as we know, Wednesday and Thursday are our working days. So today we got in from driving, we got in at about 11:45. And, you know, so half of the day was kind of lost in regards to not being able to do what I was planned for work. But I didn't let it bother me. I just let go of it and enjoyed that journey into where we are now, and then getting on the call with Mark and so on. So I think there's been a lot that's been, for me, that has been really of not necessarily an awareness, more of an actual understanding now, and going through that process, which has just taken it to another level, just really taking it to another level, which I think is, you know, like my mum had said on another call, she feels like she's gone to the next level, and that's it. It's okay, I've gone to the next level, but if you imagine like Mario Brothers or Sonic the Hedgehog, these games, you get to the next level and then there's loads of challenges before you progress to the next level, and you're constantly trying to get, and then you die, you've lost your 3 lives and you have to start all again, and then you know what to do through the first 4 levels, and then you get back to level 5. Right, this bugger, I'm going to make this jump this time. And that's, I think that once we've gone through it, we get this level of understanding, and now it's the next thing. And I think as well, it was because I love listening to audios, and Beth likes podcasts, and I get so much. So I think her allowing me to receive that was really interesting, but also the fact that today we had an hour-and-a-half drive and we didn't have anything on. You know, we were just literally just quiet, present, taking in what was coming in, which was also really nice in itself. So it's all been really a very powerful next step for us. Yeah. But in regards, sorry.
No, I was just going to say, it's funny really, because Dave bought me an Apple computer. Instead of me using my laptop, he bought me an Apple computer because he's from Yorkshire, and he said it was cheaper than buying a new laptop. So we bought me an actual, and when I saw it, I thought, oh Lord, what am I going to do with that? It's huge, it's enormous. And he got a bit upset because I haven't been using it. And I've been putting off using it. And I start on Monday, I came downstairs, I turned it on, and I worked 90% of Monday on it. But because it's in the dining room cum kitchen, it's just amazing, because I can listen to anything and anyone I want now while I'm in the kitchen, instead of having my laptop on the work surface and it's in the way and it's going to get damaged. It's there, it's sitting, and I switched it off last night about 9 o'clock last night, and I thought, wow, this is amazing. But isn't it funny that I had that obstacle of that I didn't want to use it, yet it's been such a massive plus. So and
I think it's also interesting as to how you started the call off, that there's the 5 love languages, and Dave's is definitely buying you gifts. And but the problem is well, there's not a problem with it, but obviously there's 2 sides to everything. So he loves to buy you gifts, but he has to go and work hard to earn the money. And because of his upbringing, and Trudy, you know, we kind of discussed this before, the money mindset, you know, like Carly's in the Freedom Era, so you all know around that stuff. The money mindset things that you have to shift. Unless you're willing to go down that path, you're never ever going to let go of that generational money, wealth limiting beliefs that take place, unless you're brought up into a completely different environment where people it doesn't even come into their area of life, and they just go out and do what they do. So a lot of that is obviously letting go. And I think the with what you were saying is Dave's way of showing love and affection is in the gifts and seeing, and like you said, you work hard, you deserve this. But at the same time, there's got to be that side that when you want something like his support in the businesses and coming and saying, Rosa, keep doing what you're doing, I know you're happy with it, and it's not necessarily there. That's where it's that thing of he's the best person in a way, because he's making sure that, how much do you want this, Rosa? I am going to create the resistance, the law of resistance. I am going to create the resistance to see if you are willing to push through. Because if I create the resistance in the house, and you can be able to receive that and accept it for the gift that it is, you're going to be able to deal with the resistance on the outside.
I never looked at it like that, Mark, but yeah. Well, doesn't Wayne Dyer say that the person that triggers you is your soulmate, because they bring up all your like insecurities, yeah.
It's like that in any relationship. So definitely the one in the house with you, or the kids and the, you know, grandparents, the closest people to you may bring more or may bring less, depending on how their family, you know, your family lineage learnt already in relationships, because we've all got a different thing we've come in with a core wound. Mine's definitely with relationships. That's why I'm really good at the inner child. And so, yeah, like just accepting the mirror, like Martin's saying, and then you just go in and see where in you, what part of the body, you know, if it's around the throat, just check in with self and ask, you know, why am I judging this? Like, what benefit is it to me to understand or accept this lesson? Or what is it that I'm not valuing about myself? Like, you could ask a few varied questions to pinpoint what it is. But if you're feeling it in the throat, just ask, you know, why am I judging this? What's my fear around? Because judgment's fear-based. So what's my fear? Is it a fear of not being accepted? Is it a fear of, if I show up and speak my truth, I won't be loved, like, or accepted or received? And that's more painful for my inner child than if I don't speak. You know, what is that? Like, it's just simple, like, keep it simple and just be aware of the mirror, like Martin saying it, like everyone's that mirror. And then, and just take 5 minutes away in your own space to check what that mirror meant to you. And rather instead of going into the wound of the wound itself and create victim, just tap into the wisdom behind it and flip it straight back into loving self, like send from your own heart to your throat internally. Fill the love up and let the love and your breath diffuse it, just through awareness and owning it, accepting it, because then the outside mirror no longer is needed. And it transforms it. Like the person either stops being your friend, or your partner ends up not even bringing that subject up ever again because you've owned it internally.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
I think there's a lot in as well as in how we respond or react to somebody else's reaction or response. And it goes back to really what Wendy said around when you squeeze an orange, what comes out, you know, and it's like whatever's inside, and it's orange juice. So when we're squeezed, what comes out? Like there's you know, well, I mean, you know this in relationships with a partner, but certainly in this example, why is Dave responding like that is the question. You know, so what's going on in Dave's life that he feels like that? You know, why does he like, can't get 5 minutes? Like, why does he feel like that? So, and we all know that, well, some of us do, that he's working well beyond what he's able to do. But and the problem with that is that he knows that he's working too much, but he won't stop, and he makes this excuse that he has to work that much for money. And then he goes and spends money on a computer that isn't really needed, but he does it as a way of giving and saying, well, here's my love to you. But really when he steps back, he's like, why am I putting myself through all this pressure? Because Rosa doesn't expect this from me. And in all fairness, and I'm probably going to speak on your behalf here, I know that you would rather have him showing up and not being moody and grumpy and supporting you than a new computer. But at the same time, that's how he understands how to show up. That's his love languages in the gifts. But the problem is that those people who aren't willing to actually look at their actions and the way they're behaving and the way that they think are the ones who will always try and get over the way that they're behaving and the way that they think by buying things or maybe doing something that makes up for their behavior. If that makes sense. And that's just because of maybe childhood stuff, you know, like Carly was saying, inner child. What happened to the inner child?
Yeah.
What happened back then? What did you witness? Did you see, you know, like, I mean, this is one extreme, but did you see your mother get physically abused by your father, but then the next day giving her a gift and hugging her and loving her and so on? And that just like completely creates this confusion in the child. Like,
Yeah, well,
and you
yeah.
live with that. Unconsciously, that's in the controlling decisions that we're making, which, you know, when you mentioned before, Trudy, around the work with MJB, they're literally taking you right back.
Yeah.
I mean, I just, yeah, it is like, it to be honest, like dad was a redhead, fiery, very fiery. I mean, I was too young to know a lot of what was going on because mum died at 26, but I was 26 when mum died, rather. Otherwise I won't be here. But dad was very fiery. And in fairness, dad was fiery at mum, and it wasn't mum's fault, if you know what I mean. Mum was trying to make a situation right, but because dad knew in his heart of hearts he was wrong, he would fly off the handle. Then when I married your dad, I found that your dad did exactly the same. And I find Dave does exactly the same. So I'm starting to look at me and think, right, okay, all right, I give in. What do I need to do to stop it? Stop the pattern. But I feel that they have the problem. I mean, obviously I have problems, but they have the problem, and I have to learn how to, I feel, not let it get to me, if that makes sense.
Yes.
and you're attracted to people like your dad, but what comes with that is also there's a positive and there's a negative.
Mm.
And how do you deal with?
I know, because I mean, Dave is like, Dave could be my dad's brother or my dad's twin brother. They are so alike. And Dave often says, "You only love me because I'm like your dad." But it's really, really weird and uncanny, you know, down to the way they yawn and the way they drink their tea. It is like sometimes like living with my dad. So,
But I think with that, because like Beth sees a lot of a lot of her dad in me. So and I think that those with what I've experienced, so certainly since I've been more in the personal development sector, a lot of females who have had a good relationship with the father or a close relationship tend to look for a guy. Even like Nikki said, "Oh, you remind me of my dad," not like Richard. So there's certain traits and things that do that. But I know for a fact that like Beth smiled and was giggling to herself when you said around that like frustration and stuff. And I get frustrated at myself and I voice that out. And the thing is that I let it out, whereas Beth doesn't let it out. So it sits in and it's festering away. Whereas I want to get it out and let go of it and move on. I don't want to suppress it. I want to maybe even, I want to acknowledge it and I want to maybe process it later. But at that point, I do not want to be holding on to something that is not truly like, it's serving me in part of the growth afterwards, but in that moment, it isn't serving me. And I want to let go of it. So I voice it out. And the problem is that, and this is one of the, what were we listening to when they were talking about communication? Was it Esther Abraham Hicks? Was it someone else? Or it might have been Oprah when she was talking to Esther. And they were saying that we are the only species in the world that communicates through words. And the power of our communication can either uplift someone or destroy them, empower them or disempower them. Yet all living beings communicate and get along. They connect, they do their things, but it's only human beings that have the ability to speak and the words for us each to understand, and we can destroy each other. And it's often because of that frustration inside some of us like me who let it out, it then affects the people around. But it's not, and it's often not necessarily like directed at Beth, for instance. It's an inner pain that I'm trying to get rid of. I'm trying to understand them, I'm trying to process the whole thing. But Beth happens to be in the way, and I'm like, oh, for F's sake. And she's thinking it's her that's at fault. And I'm like, it's not you. It's me. I'm frustrated with why this is happening. What's going on? I need to find the solution. I'm solution orientated. I need to find it. I'm going to find it when the time's right, probably when I've calmed down. But right now, I need to let this out. And I think many of us do that. And even Linda, who recently, she was like, what star sign are you, Martin? And I'm like, Sagittarius. She's like, whoa. I was like, yeah, and I'm a ginger.
Italian.
I've got every single characteristic. And I'm lava, bubbling, boiling lava.
You froze a little bit there, Martin.
So he's ginger, he's Sagittarius, he's Italian. You see, they're mountain, he's male.
And that was one of the things that Linda in particular had said. She was like, your ability to not necessarily control it, but appreciate it for what it is and the gift that it is incredible to witness as someone who's like interested in those kinds of things. But then like today, Mark was talking on the call around the moon cycle. I was like, right now, people, if they're in a state of flow, if things are going right, they are flying. But if they are not, they are really struggling right now. they don't know what to do. They're really confused. But if they're actually feel like they're moving, they are literally, momentum has got them. But it's that thing of it's kind of like trying to think of the analogy of it. But if something's moving and you jump in and it's where you want to go, you're going in that direction like the stream. But if the stream slows down, you aren't going. Like the wind on the sailboat. If you manage to get your sail set and it catches the wind, you have gone. But if you miss that sail setting in the wind, you're just stranded out there waiting for the next gust of wind to come on. And that's where we are at any given time.
Mm.
Which way, how are we setting our sail? Which way do we want to go?
Yeah.
I was going to say, just these masterminds, by sharing whatever we're sharing this evening, already allows an opening for expansion around, like a higher level of expansion around the issue or the action or the wisdom between us all. And it just lifts us all up, because we all, whether we're conscious or not, we get to move and shift already just by sharing it.
Mm.
You know, like the possibility in that has already opened the door for something to change, and you may not recognize it for another week or in 2 months, but it's already changing.
Yeah.
All right. So the positive out of that is, you see, if Dave hadn't been ratty for the last few weeks, I wouldn't have brought it up. Yeah.
And then
Very interesting. I love it. I love it.
If you hadn't have brought it up, what would it be like in another week's time if you don't bring it up at all? Like, you may share it with a friend, but I love these masterminds, because when we share it here, it's a different energy to just sharing it to someone that will agree with you.
Mm.
Because you get to go into it a bit deeper and look at it at a different angle of other people's wisdom, like Martin's wisdom and Trudy's wisdom. You know, like, you get to look at it at different angles, and it just helps you soften so that it can open more.
Mm.
And then when it starts to open, it starts to release organically. Our breath is that powerful, with the omnipresence of the universe in every breath. It knows what to do.
And your wisdom, Carly, as well.
Yes.
And we had this last week on the Gold Star call for Carly, if you remember. Where and she won't have an issue with me saying this, but where Lisa was going through some stuff right now, and because of who we are, we weren't nasty to her, and we weren't agreeing with her as in to try and empathize with her. We were asking questions that were making her realize, I know I'm the problem. And she was trying to find excuses and trying to point the finger and feeling like a victim. But there's so much going on for her in her life right now that she's really in a state of resistance in many things, and where her expectations were. And this is what, you know, I covered this on the call before with Mark. I covered it last week. The problem is what are our expectations? We're all in some level of relationship, and one of the things that one of the personal development audios that I listened to, and I think it's more of a motivational one, and it was like, you join this, and it was actually around a network marketing company. They're like, you join this network marketing company, and your expectation was that you were going to be successful. You were going to build a big organization. You were going to earn all this money. You were going to be able to have holidays and buy a nice big house and have build a nice cars and all this. That was your expectation based on what you were hearing in the language that was being presented to you. But the owner of the company expects you to get out there and tell people about the products and tell people about the company. And if you're not doing that, then your expectations aren't aligned.
Mm.
But you're expecting this and he's expecting this, and neither of you are getting it, because the bottom line comes down to you're not doing the initial work for then him to be able to give you what you want. Everything comes down to that expectation. So when you look at the relationship with somebody else, the only person that you're in control of is yourself.
Mm.
You know, when people say, I want to change people, I want to change lives, good luck with that. Because you don't change lives. People change their own lives. You help, you inspire, you encourage, you empower people, but they change their own lives. When people say, oh, I've changed so much, no, you haven't. Because every single one of us who chose to be on this call, I didn't make you come on this call. I chose to show up and create this opportunity, and you each chose to come on this call. You each have an expectation. My expectation is I am coming and I am starting this call. That's it. That's my expectation of myself. I put it out there that there'll be people who choose to join me and we have a conversation. But the expectation then for you each is that Martin is going to show up and put the call on. But if Martin doesn't show up and put the call on, how many times do you keep showing up and the call isn't on before you go, the expectation isn't being met? If I know your expectation and you know my expectation, everything can work synergistically. And that's why I think it's important in any form of relationship that the conversations are had. Because once you're bringing somebody else in, they have their own expectation. And if you're not clear on it, you're putting your expectation on them unconsciously, and they've got no bloody idea about what you're thinking.
Yeah. I think I learned that with, I can't remember whether it was Les Brown, Abraham Hicks, or Wayne Dyer about, oh, it was Wayne Dyer about like Dave does everything methodically because he's an engineer, and it's methodical. I mean, all the mushrooms are cut to the same size. Mine, there's some big, there's some small, and it used to irritate me to distraction. But since Wayne Dyer, I've learned that, well, that's the way Dave does it, because that is Dave. I can't make him do something because he's not me. And it was amazing that to realize that, and the weight that was taken off me. So now when Dave cooks, I get out the room, because I know if I stay, it'll wind me up because of the need for perfection. You see, when I cook, it's just like a bomb's hit it, so I've learned now, get out the way and let the genius continue in the kitchen.
There's also a lesson in there on the side of, are you rushing through things and just going, I'm just going to cut this because I've got to get on to the next thing, because that's exactly how I'd be. I'm like Beth smiling once. She's looking over and smiling. She may as well be sat here on the call. But the angle for me is, and this is where it's important as well, the value of things. For me, I would quite happy. I love eating. There's no problem there. I absolutely love eating. But I do not enjoy preparing meals, cooking at all. So when I was on my own, I was actually quite fine in just going into the kitchen, chopping up a load of salad and throwing it in there and eating a raw salad. That was easy for me because, one, to me, it was healthy. Two, it fitted in with my plant-based lifestyle. But three, it allowed me to get back to what I wanted to do. When I moved into the house, even when I was with Nikki, we had a cleaner, and I've had a cleaner all the way through. And it's not because I'm any better than the person who's cleaning the house. I'm just grateful I can give them the opportunity to earn more money and do what they need to do, or if they like it. But because it didn't serve me to clean the house. My time was actually better spent doing something that I enjoyed that was actually helping earn more money than what we were paying the cleaner. But it's hard for some people to get into that mindset. Like Mark's just doing that right now. He's like, oh, I've got a VA, I've got a cleaner coming in, we've got someone who's going to help with a few other things around. And it's like, I said, mate, best thing you can do, because then you are doing things, unless you enjoy doing it, but then you are doing things that are serving you and filling your own cup rather than feeling it's a chore in life. Because I guarantee there's someone out there who loves to clean houses. There's someone out there that loves to cook. Give them the opportunity to do that and let yourself fill your own cup by doing what you enjoy. Right? Or if that's someone's skill set and they go, I don't have much, but I can clean and I'm very good at cleaning. Let them do it. That's their skill set. And I think what's so beautiful about that is, and especially from a team angle, if you create opportunities for people to step in and shine, what do you bring to the team? And you think about it as in like soccer. If you go to each person who's there, the 11 players, and go, what is it you love to do? I love to be in goal because I don't want to run around the pitch. Okay, you're in goal. What do you like to do? I like to score goals where you're an attacker. Go on, you're going up front. Because if I put the attacker in goal, he's not going to be very happy. He's probably going to be wandering around looking. He might even have his phone out and start texting, and someone kicks the ball and it bloody goes past him in the goal. And you think, if I'd given him the position that he needed where he would thrive and he'd be actually present in it, we might have a higher chance of success.
Wasn't that, talking about that, wasn't that the problem with Man United's last, not the guy they've got now, the one before, I can't think of his name, the manager for Man United? Weren't the players saying that he was putting them in positions that they didn't like to play in, so therefore they couldn't play at their best capacity because and he said, well, you'll get used to it. I'm sure it was him. What, I can't remember his name. The Spanish guy. Yeah, this is where I want you to play, and it just kept falling apart.
But and there's, I mean, I don't know around that, but there's also, once again, two sides to that. This is what you see yourself as and your capabilities, but what does somebody else see you as? And when people say to me, I can't do it, and I go, I didn't even know how to bloody run a Facebook ad. I didn't even know how to do a webinar. I didn't know how to do, no one's taught me this. I've taught myself, or I have been taught through a YouTube video. I wasn't born with these skills, and I find them and I wear multiple hats. And you know what? I hate the time it takes me to edit a video, but I love the end part of a video. And I go, I created that, but I don't enjoy the time it takes me because it takes so bloody long. But still, someone said to me, you're great in front of the camera. Okay, I'm good in front of the camera, but I still have, I love being in front of the camera. The great side of it is I love to speak. I love to show up. I love to educate. The bad side, not really that interested in editing. However, the result of me editing is far greater than the pain of going through it. Hence why the post today, what are you willing to sacrifice in order to gain far more? Something down those lines. And that's the reality of it. There's always going to be pain. A relationship, if you actually, like, when you look at every relationship, there is positives and negatives in it all. But I guarantee if you reflect over the time that you were together with somebody, there's far more positives than there are negatives. It's just that the negatives sometimes have a bigger meaning than the amount of positives. The meals you went out, the things you did, all the dating stuff, all the other bits that I want to get to because my mum's on the call. But yeah, all that kind of stuff, there's often far more pleasure than pain in it over a period. And I think this is where it's getting into that thing of, what do I bring to the table? And in the industries that we're in, looking and going, do you know what? Martin loves to talk about the bloody water. Let Martin talk about the water, leverage the content. Martin loves to host masterminds. Martin loves to bring people together. Why don't, and let's imagine that you're the kind of person that's not really interested in doing that. Why don't I just leverage and plug into that? Why don't I bring the people so Martin can actually fill his own cup with what he's created, but we can all receive that value together? That's looking at where you can leverage, and you've got all these different team players and you work together to achieve the success that we desire, in my opinion. Doesn't matter if we're not in the same team in regards to financially receiving from each other. What matters is that we're all in the same team, climbing the mountain together and succeeding together in whatever that is to us. That's what matters. Being around those people that when you know things aren't going well in your job or with your relationship or career, you can log on and you are in the energy field of a group of people who have got the same kind of vision and mission to achieve a better life and experience it together as a group. How can you not win in that frequency?
Yeah.
So, ladies, with that in mind, we've just gone over the hour point. But as always, thank you, each of you, for choosing to come and show up. Thank you, Mum, for the topic. I definitely feel it was a deep one, and certainly with things that have been going on in my life right now, was very relevant to touch on those points of what I've been experiencing. So, and for the deep connection that you took us through there as well, Carly. So,
Yeah,
thank
thanks
you to everyone.
everybody else. Yeah, brilliant. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. Another great call. See you next week. Enjoy the bungle bungles. Woohoo!
Yeah, will do. Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye,
Lots of love.
girl. See you, Mark.
Bye.
Bye.